Good evening and welcome to the program. This is the Limelight and my name is Prince Apollo. This evening we look back at the policy by government to implement Kiswahili as an official language in Uganda. And it started way back in 2022 when Cabinet made the resolution to teach Kiswahili in schools as a compulsory subject. But this was also a directive from the East African community to adopt Swahili alongside French as official languages of the regional bloc. Welcome to the program. I will host Dr. Arinitwe Perpetua, the Senior Curriculum Specialist at the National Curriculum Development Center, to look at the progress in the implementation of this policy and the potential challenges they are facing as key stakeholders in this policy. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good afternoon, viewers. Thank you for tuning in. This is an opportunity for us as the Swahili Fraternity and secondly as the institution National Curriculum Development Center and at large Ministry of Education and Sports. My name is Dr. Arinitwe Perpetua. I work with this institution, National Curriculum Development Center, and I'm in charge of Kiswahili at the primary level.
Thank you. Well, Doctor, let's go straight to the issue at hand. If I may ask, are Ugandans learning Swahili?
Thank you very much. That is quite a general question. I think we are going to kind of break it down.
Good.
And I want to give it an overview for people to be able to understand it. That let's quote some important books like the Constitution of Uganda, which recognizes Kiswahili, the Constitution of 1995, but look at the amended Constitution of 2005, which gives a big mileage to Kiswahili as a language in the country and gives it a second official language status. And I can actually give that article verbatim. When you look at that article, it says that Kiswahili shall be the second official language of Uganda and shall be used in such circumstances as Parliament may by law prescribe. That is what the Constitution talks about. I want to go back to your point, to your question of are Ugandans learning or using Kiswahili? From the Constitution of 2005, I think we can look at we've registered several progress. We have a journey, we have journeyed with this language up today. When we go to the issue of institutionalization of the language, Kiswahili as a subject in schools, let me go to 2009. I'm looking at the inception of Kiswahili in the primary teachers' colleges. It is a very big mileage for the country. That Ministry of Education thought it wise that Kiswahili is supposed to start in the schools. And in order to have the teachers that will be able to go and teach in those schools, they had to start Kiswahili teaching in PTCs. Primary teachers' colleges are those that prepare the teachers for the primary level. And in 2009, it was when Kiswahili was incepted in the PTCs, but coming to getting a teacher who graduated with Kiswahili as a teaching subject came out in 2014. Perhaps what I can say is from 2014, we have been having PTCs graduating with teachers having Kiswahili as a teaching subject to date. But unfortunately, those teachers have not been utilized. And you know, language is practice. When you don't practice it, somehow you lose it. But that is not all. That is not where we have stopped. We continued. There are so many milestones that we have registered. Those teachers are there, they are teaching other subjects. But we are hoping that one day, one time, we are going to use them in the massive implementation of Kiswahili at primary level. Coming to still the question of are Ugandans using the language, Kiswahili is compulsory at secondary. Only that in the right processes, there is no way you can build a house starting from the roof. Kiswahili should have started from primary. I'm thinking it would make it much easier for these learners to transit from primary level with the Swahili as a language and also now join to secondary when they have the basics, you know, in the language. But now they start it at what? At secondary. So it would bring us to that big challenge where Kiswahili is not yet fully implemented at primary level. But when it comes now to National Curriculum Development Center, as our mandate gives us that opportunity, we developed the Kiswahili curriculum for primary. Kiswahili does not start from primary 1. It starts from primary 4. Our viewers and I think our listeners need to know that. This is not, it was not just haphazard, it was a well thought about project that there was a research that was done by Makerere University Institute of Language that came out with a report that we give space these learners from P1 to P3 to handle the thematic curriculum. And we give them that space to learn their languages. Okay? And then Kiswahili would come at the transition stage at primary 4. And so our curriculum starts at primary 4. NCDC, we have a curriculum that has gone through all the processes because we have the steps on when the curriculum is being developed until when it is implemented. Okay? We have it was developed, it was quality assured. We have our own boards that approve the curriculum before it is taken for piloting and all those processes, okay? But we have a fully, I can call it a ready print copy now that is ready to be printed and be taken out to be used by the teachers in the schools.
Okay, so you said you developed a curriculum.
Yes.
A curriculum for learners starting with primary 4
yes, please.
Learners.
Yes, please.
It is also compulsory in secondary.
It is compulsory at secondary level.
So to ask my question again,
yes,
are our learners really learning Kiswahili as teachers available in schools to teach all children at both levels, primary and secondary? Are they learning Kiswahili?
Thank you very much. I think let's now go to policy and also look at the, let me take you back to the white paper of 1992. When you read the Kajubi report, actually Kajubi report of 1987 to 89, it recommended that Kiswahili be taught and examined at the end of the primary cycle. White paper adopts the same, the same approach. But of course, up to today, like I am saying, we have not yet fully implemented it. Okay? But now come to the policy, the cabinet adopting Kiswahili
as a compulsory subject.
As a compulsory subject at primary and secondary level. That was in 2022. Yeah. That is not very far. So I want to appreciate government because it has done what it is supposed to do. I think it still comes to us because if cabinet, they give it that big mileage and say that Kiswahili must be taught as a compulsory subject at primary, both at primary and secondary levels. But we see with the implementation of the new lower secondary curriculum, Kiswahili is compulsory. Now it is compulsory from senior 1 to senior 4. But I still take you back that it is not there in primary. I want to appreciate those schools that are voluntarily teaching it. They are teaching it on their own. They come and get materials, they are guided, they go continue to teach because they feel that their learners should not miss out. At secondary, we are teaching. At primary, we are teaching in bits. Formally, we have not yet implemented massively in all primary schools in Uganda. Coming to your question of the teachers, I think Uganda has enough teachers that it can actually, if it can deploy all of them to all the schools, we can still have the balances. I told you that since the inception of Kiswahili in Primary Teachers College, that was in 2009. I told you the first teacher came out in 2014. We've been counting 65. We've been counting 8,000 teachers per year of Kiswahili. When you count from 2014 to date, now let's leave out the phasing out of the primary teachers' colleges. But we can stop at a certain year, let's say, this is 2024. Even if we stop at 2020, we have over 85,000 teachers.
So the teachers,
Uganda,
the teachers are available.
The teachers are available.
But in primary, you say they are teaching in bits. Not all learners are actually learning Swahili.
Yes, please.
What is the challenge then in primary?
Like let me re-echo it again, that in primary, I think the challenge has been funding.
Oh, yeah.
Let me, I think, categorically say it like that. Perhaps it has not been given that big priority because everything is in place. The curriculum is ready, the teachers are ready. But when we develop a curriculum, it is on us as National Curriculum Development Center. After finishing all the processes of developing the curriculum to the end, then when the curriculum is out, we have to go and orient the teacher to be able to interpret and use that curriculum.
Did you do that?
We've not done that. We trained master trainers. They are ready to go and now teach these other teachers. Master trainers are a handful. For them, we trained them. There are 500 teachers that we trained who are supposed to go and roll it over to other teachers in the whole country. Uganda has so many primary schools.
Yeah, true.
So if government does not support us and actually consolidate what they have already invested in the PTCs, what they have already invested to us as the institution, then I think we shall be losing it. Because there is a lot that has been put so far. When we are developing curriculum, I don't develop the curriculum alone. We work with panels. All that is work that is paid. Government is putting in some funding. So we need to consolidate what has already been put and use those teachers who are there.
Okay, well, so there could be challenges in at primary level, but what is the progress in secondary level, in your opinion? The
secondary level, I think we are progressing so well. The major hiccup right now is the teachers who have Kiswahili as a teaching subject at secondary level with their degrees have not been deployed. And they are crying, actually, that isolation in deployment. And I think recently let's go outside now, the formal institutionalization of Kiswahili. There are several associations outside there. We have the Chaktau. Chaktau is an umbrella association for all the teachers of Uganda. Okay? When the recent recruitment of teachers, there is no Kiswahili teacher who was recruited. And they keep on, we keep hearing people in corridors, we don't have teachers. Uganda, maybe we can't get teachers from Kenya. It is embarrassing because we have a bunch of teachers here that are not being put into practice. So
we have trained teachers for Kiswahili, but they are not deployed.
They are not deployed. And I think recently the Chaktau petitioned the speaker and other bodies about the same cause, because they also want to be felt. Okay, and looking at the global opportunities of this language, it is something that we should keep an eye. The African Union recognizes Kiswahili as one of the languages
spoken in Africa.
The United Nations recognized Kiswahili as one of the languages that are used internationally. And this July 7th of July, that is some weeks back, we celebrated the International Kiswahili Day. So I think looking at the opportunities that Kiswahili is bringing, it is something that we really need to give a hand and we see how to grow with it.
Briefly tell our viewers, what are those opportunities for Kiswahili speaking Ugandans?
Thank you so much. I think the opportunities can never be underrated. There are very many, because when I look at if Kiswahili is institutionalized at the primary level, in a formal setup, how many teachers are going to be teaching in those primary schools? Isn't that a very great opportunity?
For teachers.
For teachers. And the same, of course, the same actually goes to secondary. Then we don't look only at that. What about media? The media industry. Of course, there are those singers who use Kiswahili when they are singing. They don't artists. They don't need to come ask for permission that should I use it or not. Well, actually, there is something that we underrate. I don't know whether you have ever gone to downtown. Those people who come to shop from them, they are not Ugandans. These are people from Congo, people from Tanzania, people from Kenya, and these people speak Swahili. And even these Ugandans speak Swahili, but only when they come out from there and they are talking to their home people, the story changes. I think there is something, we need to sanitize it. We need to somehow sanitize the language and try to sensitize the masses about the good things that Kiswahili is coming with. And then also look at
sanitizing the Kiswahili language. What do you mean by sanitizing?
I think I'm using what I'm trying to mean. People still relate the language to the Amin's regime.
True.
Lugha ya wezi.
To the brutal history
of our country. But of course, like I've always said, it is not the language that did that. It is the people by that time who are using the language wrongly. And you know, somehow it has carried on. But I'm sure with time, as we continue to embrace it, the history will change.
All right, and now out of schools, looking at the communities and the society around us, what do you think is the progress in adopting and embracing Kiswahili as a second official language?
I think it is good progress, and I want to thank our President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. I think has been one of the lovers and advocates for this language. We have very, very clear policies. But the clear policies have ended up as lip service, especially when it comes to the formal education. I still say this, there is no way you can build a house. You start with a roof without a foundation.
Yeah, true.
We must have Kiswahili at primary, and we feel that this child at primary level will be our ambassador to the parents. It will extend, because if this child has learned this language, reaches home and greets you in that language in a good way, and explains actually the greeting and you understand how it is, you're able now to, they are going to be our change makers. Okay, so I feel it is a very big gap if it is not thought about and we implement it at primary level. But if it is thought about, it is something very, very good. But other than that, like the progresses, I've told you, I think we have made major progresses. Like I've been saying that other than what we are doing in schools, we have several associations. Those associations are not just there to make noise. They've been doing even community outreach services. Something I did not actually talk about is we trained the CCTs. CCTs, we call them Center Coordinating Tutors. These ones work in primary teachers' colleges. They are operating in centers. Those centers have some schools, a batch of schools that they monitor, supervise to see the progress and implementation of education policies. We trained all the CCTs in Uganda, in Kiswahili, in the implementation of this, of Kiswahili at primary level. This CCTs also, they are there, also waiting for the big do. When is it coming? When is it happening? Okay, so we have achieved quite a lot. Only that when I train you, and you don't do the intention of the training, then somehow, this is a language I'm telling you. Remember, after the training, these people don't practice the language in their homes. They go back to their own languages. So they tend to forget what they've learned. Meaning that if you're again going to use them, then you have to give them another dose.
So from in your opinion, you think it is through the school system that the Swahili language can be promoted, and it goes out to communities and the society. What do you think? Or
that is,
possibly it should be a 2- or 3-pronged approach where we have schools teaching Swahili and even in other establishments like government agencies and where. What do you think about that?
Thank you very much. I think that is a very brilliant question. You know, when we are implementing a language, we have to look at the uniqueness of our education system, uniqueness, the setup of our country. When you look at Uganda, I don't see Uganda implementing Kiswahili using the top-bottom approach. Language in Uganda, and even it is researched, a country with this kind of an education system and setup, Kiswahili can be fully implemented and well achieved if it is mainstreamed through education. Okay? But once we go into the top-bottom approach, first of all, one character with the top-bottom approach, it's very expensive. But when we go the bottom-top approach, it's a very good strategy. You're dealing with the key stakeholder, who is the learner. And then we see that learner as our advocate. Okay?
Who will spread
the message. Because we know these learners come from homes. And when you're using the top-bottom approach, these are the parents of these learners that you're going to teach. So this parent will feel shy coming home and speaking a broken Kiswahili. But this learner is interested in the language, and for them, they just speak. Okay? And when they speak, they feel happy. They learn. And somehow, somewhere, we shall see it, you know, being the language moving from their children to their parents. But the top-bottom approach is quite cumbersome.
So you prefer, as a specialist, you prefer a bottom-up approach,
yes,
instead of starting from the top and teaching from the top, hoping that it will trickle down.
But even if you read so many researches about the language policy, language planning, language management, most researchers tell you language can best be implemented through education.
Okay, so in conclusion, what other recommendations have we left out?
Thank you very much. You know, whenever you're doing something, there is something you always miss out. If you're to implement a certain government project, you must put the strategies on how you're going to actualize that project. We come with very good policies, but we have not put strategies to actualize on how we are going to implement the project. Swahili has always had very, very good policies, actually dating from, let me start from looking at there is also another report, the Kajubi report of 1977, as we wind up, yes. When you see the policies have been so good, but we've not been having good strategies for implementation. Something that I can recommend is government to prioritize Kiswahili at primary level. The moment we streamline and we have a clear thread from primary to secondary to university, then I think we are going to have a product that is very well trained at the end of it. Other than mingling the whole process now, starting from up going down, Swahili is already at secondary. All universities are teaching Swahili, but we don't have Swahili at primary level.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arin Trepepetwa. You say there is a challenge of funding.
Yes, please.
You say there is a problem in strategy, in a strategy to, of course, teach Kiswahili,
to actualize
the teaching of Kiswahili,
yes.
And possibly, what now, as we conclude, what is your hope? What is your estimation? What do you think will happen now to this whole policy? Just in 1 minute.
I think what I can say, you know, in all this, we don't work in isolation. This is NCDC working with the Ministry of Education. And I'm sure whenever we present those priority areas that are supposed to be worked on, they always think about them. So I'm hopeful, because last year we promised the country that we are going to implement this year. The year is not yet done. I'm hopeful 1,000 times that government is going to give us money to go and teach this learner in the primary school.
Wow. That is amazing, and it is good that there is hope that Ugandans will quickly learn Swahili and exploit the opportunities that are available out there. Of course, not only in the region, the East African region, but globally.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Tujifunze Kiswahili.
Asante sana. Asante sana kutufikia hapa. Hiki ni kituo cha kutunga mitaala, National Curriculum Development Center, which develops materials for primary, for secondary and some tertiary institutions. Thank you for coming.
Asante sana.
Poa poa. Asante sana na wewe.
Asante sana. Watu wa Uganda, watu wa East Africa, tujifunze Kiswahili. It is the way to go. My name is Prince Apollo. That's it from the National Curriculum Development Center, and that's it from Dr. Arindite Perpetua, the specialist in implementation of the Kiswahili language as one of the official languages, not only in Uganda, but also in the East African region. Good evening for now. We'll catch up next week in another edition of the Limelight. God bless you and God bless Uganda.